So how do IELTS examiners assess your essay? In other words, how do IELTS examiners use this document to assess your essay? Well, IELTS examiners compare your essay against the banned descriptors, the descriptions of essays in the assessment criteria document. So they compare your essay against the banned descriptors. And they will start by first comparing your essay against the banned descriptors in the lower band. So for example, even if they think your essay might be around, say, band 5 or 6 for task response, then they might first quickly check your essay against band 4 to make sure your essay isn't really a band 4 essay, to make sure that you're better than band 4. So let's quickly look at band 4. So the band descriptor for band 4 task response got a bunch of statements in there, and some of those statements have some positive elements. So it presents a position, presents some main ideas, but the descriptors also have some negative elements in there as well. So inappropriate, unclear, difficult to identify, repetitive, irrelevant, not well supported, and so on. So the IELTS examiner will compare your essay against these descriptors. And if your essay has all of the positive points, all the statements in green, so if your essay does present a position and it does present some main ideas, and if your essay has none of the negative points, none of the points in red, so if your essay does not respond to the task only in a minimal way, in other words, it's better than that, or if your answer is not tangential. I'll explain that term in a later video. So if your answer is not tangential, it's better than that, then you've definitely got at least a band 4, and the examiner will look further up the sheet to band 5 to see if your essay can get a band 5. But if your essay has any of the negative points, so if your essay does respond to the task only in a minimal way, if your answer is tangential, then you're going to be stuck at band 4. It doesn't matter how well you've presented your position, and it doesn't matter how well you presented some main ideas. You cannot go higher than band 4 if you have any of the negative points. You've hit a ceiling. If your essay does not have all of the positive points, so if you don't present a position, if you don't present some main ideas, then you slide down from band 4 to band 3, and the IELTS examiner will check your essay against the band 3 descriptors. This is quite an important concept to understand. So if your essay has any of the negative points in a particular band, your essay is stuck at that band. You cannot go higher. And again, if your essay has all of the positive points and none of the negative points, then the examiner will look further up the sheet to the next band up. So let's go there now. Band 5. So next, the IELTS examiner would compare your essay against the band 5 descriptors to see if you can get a band 5 or if you can go even higher than that. So again, at band 5, there are some positive points, expresses a position, presents some main ideas, and there are some negative points as well. So partially, development is not always clear, no conclusions, limited, and so on. So again, if your essay has any of the negative points, then you cannot go higher than band 5. You've hit the ceiling. So if your essay addresses the task only partially, or if the format of your essay is inappropriate in places, you cannot go higher than band 5 and that's your final score for task response. If your essay does not have all of the positive points, so if you don't express a position, if you don't present some main ideas, then you slide back down to band 4, and that will be your final score for task response. But if your essay has all of the positive points and none of the negative points, then the examiner will look further up the sheet to band 6. Let's go there now. And again, at band 6, there are some positive points, addresses all parts of the task, relevant position, relevant main ideas, and some negative points as well. More fully covered than others, conclusions might be unclear or repetitive. Again, I'll explain all these terms during the course of this section of the course. And again, if your essay has any of the negative points, you cannot go higher than band 6. You've hit the ceiling. So if your essay addresses some parts more fully than others, you cannot go higher than band 6, even if you have a relevant position, relevant main ideas. And that would be your final band score for task response, band 6. If your essay does not have all of the positive points, so if you don't address all parts of the task, then you slide back down to band 5, and that will be your final score. But if your essay has all of the positive points and none of the negative points, then the examiner will look further up the sheet to band 7, which is where you want to get to. And as with the other bands, there are some positive points at band 7 and also some negative points there as well. You'll notice, I think, that at band 7, there are fewer negative points. There's fewer stuff in red than in the lower bands. So if your essay has, again, any of the negative points, so if your supporting ideas lack focus, then you're stuck at band 7, and that will be your final score for task response. If your essay does not have all of the positive points, so if you don't present a clear position throughout the response, then you slide back down the sheet to band 6, and that will be your final score for task response. But as with the other bands, if your essay has all of the positive points and none of the negative points, then your essay can go higher than band 7. So the IELTS examiner will check your essay against the band 8 descriptors. What this all means is that in order to get a band 7, you also need to understand the band descriptors at band 6, band 5, and even band 4. And that's because, just a reminder, to get a band 7, your essay must have all of the positive descriptors and none of the negative descriptors from band 6 and below. And so when I explain the assessment criteria in this section of the course, I will take you through band 4, band 5 and band 6 as well as band 7, so you understand all of the positive points and all of the negative points at each of these lower bands, and I'll also show you band 8 and band 9 as well. So now we're going to look in depth at each of the 4 criteria, the 4 assessment criteria, so that you know exactly what they mean and exactly what you have to do in order to get a band 7 or higher for each of them. And we're going to start with task response.